So it says like this. It says Inyan HaKetoret, right? So there is a little bit a repetition, but I think it has to be read. So Achar Kach Yom B'Pitom HaKetoret V'Inyanahu L'Mara V'La'algos as She'eris Biruri Chelke Abiyah Shel Anakudos Shenisharim Bizman Mises HaMalachim that are still in the Klippas B'Soka Kali so neshama v'kiyus lechem k'noider. So this we know. Gishu yatzach shem ma. So he said this is what happens when the name Ma HaChodesh comes out. Bira amachanekudos ma shehoya after the virer. So apparently this is a process that really something has to be thought about. He says that what's happening, because we're talking about trying to translate this into our Pita Megatoris. So he says we bring down the Maha Chodesh. Birer Mechanakudos as Masha Choya Efsha the Vira. So it Oz Vatikan called Partsufi Atzilos. So as if it's possible to say that the Maha Chodesh comes and brings out Birurim. V'she'eri Biruri Chelke and Bechinas Atzilos, but then there's still leftover. So different pieces of the Bechinas of Itzilus, Shalom Nekudos, Machayosim Muvchar Shebechem, from the very most choice of them, Na'asach Klipas Noga, the Chatzilus Koloma Betov Ra. Kolom Betov Ra. Now he says the leftovers of what is not Mavura and constructs, so to speak, Atzilus, is left over from that is going to be this Klipas Noga. So he said, now the worst of it, the really serious, the sigim there, so in those it looks a lot like it. So the noga, which as I said, was saying with this yesterday, is the interface between complete bad and complete good, complete let's say falseness and truth. So he says these klipa noga, which is developed out of this, and we'll see it again. He could repeat it again. He said, "But no, the shamba v'chiyus lechem." So the klipa noga then has the ability, because it's in between them, to bring life into the complete sheker. So he said, "V'sheres biruh hakelim hapenim v'chamsoim v'chayitzonim." Shall anekudas nidchu the bria. So all that's left over than that, the rest of it goes down to bria. So then he says from the leftovers of what could be mavura there, it makes the rest of the chelke. It makes a naasach b'kol chelke bria, b'kol pratecha al seder chatzilus. So just the same way before you had the same idea. Now he explains more. So what is not pulled out and made into bria? From the very best quality of them, kali noga. So in other words, the best part of the leftover makes a kali noga because it has a little shtickle everything in it. So he says in noga, the bria, which is the tov v'ra, again the interface between sheker and emes. He said, "Umechasigim hagemurim shevachem nischavu kol prate abriya shalaklipo." The noga hanaz. So this noga that we're talking about, this interface hanaz, neshama v'chiyus lechem. That's what becomes the neshama for the klipos. So now you have an idea of, it says like the light is trapped in them. So he said, which light are you talking about? You're talking about what's trapped in them is the light of the interface of the noga. So now he has a difference between, I guess he means the panemium and the emsoyim and the kitzonim all go to different places. Let's see whether birurim naasa klipas noga the yitzira tovara. So once again, now it's sigim after sigim, or refining. The noga hanaz neshamba v'chiyas lehem. So on the other side of, that's what I'm trying to say, is that on the other side of the noga, that's where you have complete sheker. Misheres biruri hakelim b'chitzon na'asa kol chelke hasiya b'kol pratel. Umechayos movcha shemisheres birurim na'asa b'klipas noga the chasiya tov v'roa. So this is our world. He said, so really, in the really worthless, most worthless part of it, the Kali. Once again, that's what it, the Noga of the so there's interface, Neshama V'chiyas, Lechem becomes a Neshama and a Chiyas for them. So where is this located? He's talking about the Olam Masiyah, or that aspect of every Olam that we're talking about. Shuhu Achrei Chasiyah, the Kol Olam. It's on the back of all of the of Olam, all the Olam Masiyahs there are out there. So all of these she'eris that fell into Bia. Let's remember that. Shehem Zun, Shehem Beis Osius Vav and K, Shemisparam Yud Aleph. Now, this goes back to something like we were learning previously about those Pesukim, which I mean, I heard what he said, and I would practice what he said. But he said the pasuk begins with a yud, or it begins with yud k. He goes very, very different things, but or vav k, which is a gematria 11, which you can say now. So he says how exactly the importance of this. So this is apparently very important. Ki osius vav k shemisparam is yud aleph. There's chalkach of she'eres kedusha, so it divides up the remembrance of the kedusha betocha klipas the yud aleph bechinas into those birurim, into 11 different aspects, or different parts, let's say, or pieces. Yud spheres penimim besod and the shema of the chiyos, which we now define that this refers to the klipa noga in every olam. Besocho ve'echad makif aleichem kamizber yud aleph. So then there's also a makif that comes with them too. Now, why you have one makif here, how the numbers work out, I'm not sure exactly. First, we do see the 11. There's no question about it. But then the 11 is really composed of 10 panemium, which I can hear, and one outside. That's the fact. So Yud Aleph Simone Ketoret and Ramazan the Yud Aleph Bechinas Anaz, which is really the reference to those Yud Aleph. Asher al Yedecha B'Miras Pitom HaKetoret. So therefore, when you're saying Pitom HaKetoret, so you say this with kavana. And now, according to the koach of your kavana, and now, so then what you're doing, then you're elevating mikadushas ayud alav bechinas anaz, the understanding that he's saying that the basulos of the sigim, you're going down as you're getting closer to where we are, or to where we are. So he says, inside of all of those places, though, there is ability to be able to pull up the sigim that you're finding, or the kedusha that's within the sigim. And that's a bill. So what is the kavanah? It's what was here. And if you're able to do it with kavanah, he says this. Powerful statement. He says, if you're really able to do this well, this could cause you to do tshuva. So he says, Asimonim. So they say this everywhere. I looked up because there's one here that particularly I couldn't figure out. And he says that, what was I going to say? I forgot what I was going to say. This is a Bechin of Begam Yaman, but supposed to that I looked in the Nekudas HaKesef because I want to understand something. Basically, the Nekudas HaKesef says the same thing. It just, the same idea. It just says it. So it didn't give me any illumination particularly on this part. Let's go to the next part. Let's see. We have a few minutes left. We could do just a little. So he has this running thing. He says, you come in alos a kedusha metocha kali, kedusha sasiya. So this is where we're starting. We want to try to bring this kedusha, which is mixed in, into, he said, begavul kedushas asiyah, to the boundary of the kedusha of asiyah, lechiyos muchan the asos kitzonius, in order that it should be, let's say it again, it should be prepared, leha to become kitzonius, the malchus the asiyah, to the kitzonius of the malchus the asiyah, kamashi yizborach l'kaman b'siyata d'shmaya. So he has some assumptions here, and let's say we have like a couple of minutes. Let's see if we could just start and see how it works. He said, Ata hu. So for whatever reason, these two words, he said, it refers to the yichud of Abba Ve'ima. Ata hu Hashem Yudke Vavke. So he says that refers to a yichud of Zun. He said, so he said that is maybe the Yud Aleph K Dal, that name, the Shalom, refers to the yichud of Zun. Okay. Elokeinu shehiktira Avosenu. So who's the Avosenu? He says Chagat. It's Chesed Gevurah Tiferes. Lefenecho as a Malchus. He says so as the Malchus. So we're going to bring it before you. That is to the Malchus Ketoret. So he says Ketoret a gematria Yud Gimel Pamim Adni. So add it up, and you'll find if you mark 11 times the word Adni, which is Malchus, on the Varda the Klipos, which is pulled out of the Klipos, and then he shows you the 11 Adnis. So we're running out of time, so what I want to do is just read this one more time, and down the bottom where it says B'sorah, so he says Ata, so he says there's a Yichud of Abba Ve'ima. Okay, so maybe that's a prerequisite, I'm not sure. It's Atu Hashem. He says Hashem is the Yichud of Zun. So some places, I think in the Sifra de Tzniut, he talks about upper and a lower Yichud. So the upper and lower Yichud, he says. He says Elokeinu. So he says these Yichudim. Elokeinu shehikdir Avosenu. So our fathers offered this. So now we're moving into Chagat Lefanecha as a Malchus. So he says and bringing it to Malchus. We're bringing this Ketoret, which is the Gemara Yud Aleph Pamim Adni, and he said on the Varda Klipos, which is this is the process of Ketoret is really composed of 11 Adnis. Hasami Bisman Shebes Mikdash Kaim. So these are the Yud Aleph Samamanim. Kasher Sevisa Osam Al Yad Moshe Neviach Kach Pesub P'Sorasach. So that's the beginning of it, is it just laying it out, what it is prepared before this Malchus of the Olam Asiyah. There were 11 Adnis in there, in the Ketoret that we're going to bring to that place. And that's what we're going to do for today. Thank you for learning with me.